because he is someone who aspired for a certain amount of greatness, that it could become frustrating, right? Like people not following along. Do we see any moments in his life where he kind of loses his sense for Muslim virtue? He loses his sense of patience and mercifulness.
Well, the big occasion on which he would not show any mercy was to his principal enemy, who was called Reynald of Châtillon in France, one of the many Chatillons in France. This one was from somewhere up on the Seine, and Reynald came to the Middle East, came to the Holy Land, in order really to create mayhem. He was the most evil character you can imagine. The Muslims absolutely loathed him. He had a reputation for violence which was unprecedented. And one of his great adventures was to actually attack the heart of Islam. And he was also extremely ruthless and adventurous character. At best, you could call him piratical. That's a good word for him, but he was also extremely ruthless, merciless even in his treatment of Muslims. And his big adventure was to start lead a campaign which was going to strike at the heart of Islam, and the Muslims thought it was going to go down the Red Sea to Mecca and beyond and dig up the tomb of Muhammad and desecrate it. So when after he in fact survived this episode, all his crew members were captured, but he survived. He did this after 16 years in prison. He was held in a Muslim prison for 16 years. So this was what really antagonized him, drove him almost psychotic in his determination to destroy Islam and to do anything he possibly could to hurt Islam. And Saladin swore that he would personally behead him if he ever captured him. And this is what happened after the absolutely crucial Battle of Hattin in 1187, when he captured Reynald, and in a famous confrontation with the king, Guy de Lusignan, after the battle, he beheaded Reynald personally. They say it was probably, one doesn't know whether it was him, he personally beheaded him, but he had him beheaded, certainly. And all the illustrations show him personally cutting off the head of Reynald. And that was, there was no mercy to be shown there, for sure.
I don't know if you know that famous movie. It's called Kingdom of Heaven, I believe. Have you
Kingdom of
seen it?
Heaven, yeah.
Yeah. There's also it's shown.
Him cutting off the head of Reynald. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also shown that Reynald, I think, did he murder like Saladin's sister or something along the lines of that?
He murdered quite a lot of people along the way. But he must have had a certain charm, because he married the princess of Tyre and became the local king, as it were. And then he inherited a huge fortress called Kerak down on Gulf of Aqaba, and he was holed up there for a long time. Couldn't be shifted until he took part in the Battle of Hattin.
Yeah. What I also found interesting is what you wrote about his life before he went in prison for 12 years. That he even like attacked Cyprus, if I can remember correctly.
He did attack Cyprus. He wanted cash at the time. His attack on Cyprus was extremely devastating. He destroyed monasteries, he killed nuns, and came away with a great deal of treasure, which stood him in good stead later on, but certainly didn't do his reputation any good.
No, for sure not. I think it's one of those very cool rivalries, and I'm happy Saladin won eventually.